Hello and welcome to no, this isn't a fucking podcast. I have one general question, and I'm fucking pissed I even have to ask this question in this day and age. But then again, I remember when I look at all these 6 and 7 and 8 figure video game companies, yes, some of them exist. They're mostly mobile games though. I ask myself how many of them are truly run by motherfuckers who play video games. Podcast, rant, tirade, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So for those of you who don't know, one of the mainstays, or if at this point OGs, of fighting game creation is a company called Arc System Works, with a very, very terrible and boring logo. Somebody load that up on stream for me. Also, complete misspelling of the word arc, or arcs. Now, here's the thing though. They pretty much stuck with only making, well, two types of games. A fighting game franchise by the name of Guilty Gear, and a fighting game franchise by the name of Blazblue. They were pretty much kind of sort of the last bastions of 2D fighters, or rather 2D fighters that had quality and high-end people working behind it who loved their craft. Now, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not saying the company died. No, seriously, somebody go look up that logo and load it in the chat. But they started slowly making a transition into what a lot of people like to call 2.5D. Now, 2.5D isn't an actual thing, or at least not something that humans can interpret. 2.5D is a term given to three-dimensional objects and game polygonal assets that are limited to one axis instead of all three axes, X, Y, and Z. Now, I don't know how to put this, but they seem to have this unusual habit of doing what they should or what we want, but then immediately doing some ass backward shit. It's almost as if they're saying, oh yeah, the first blowjob's free, even though I'm your wife and not a prostitute, but everyone after that you're gonna have to take out a car loan for. Because they've made some curious situations ever since they got into the DLC era. Excuse me. Back in, I want to say 2008, 2009ish with their first iteration of 2.5D Guilty Gear. First off, they didn't have the entire original cast playable. They even showed some of them off in cutscenes, but these motherfuckers weren't playable. In fact, if just a rough estimate, in the first game, the very first iteration of the 2.5D Guilty Gear franchise, which is called Revelator, these mugs only had about 13 characters of their, I believe, 24 or 26 that they finished with back from the 2D era. And no, I'm not including super versions of characters or dark emo versions of the same character.
Actually, you already kind of fucked that up.
Yeah. And plus, I knew someone would try to bring that up, so might as well knock that out the way now. Alright, so now, what ends up happening is we move forward in time to the PS3 era, or what is the eighth generation cycle of consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Although if someone wants to, Google the more accurate number for that, please let me know. I'm just ballparking saying it's 8th generation. Whenever DLC for consoles started. But, they heard the outcry of people saying, well, where's such and such? Where's this character? Where's that character? Yada, 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 yada. And over time, they started adding those other characters that were in the franchise as far back as 2001, which I believe is when the first one, or 2000 when the first one came out on the old Dreamcast, right?
Wrong.
Or when did it come out? What was the first one?
The first one's Guilty Gear on PlayStation.
I'll be there. Matt, you want to stop that noise, please?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Push to talk, dude.
Do what you got to do. Now, okay, so that means that for roughly, as of, it stands right now, after 18 years pretty much of Guilty Gear, we have literally no game in their modern Revelator franchise of Guilty Gear that has all the original cast members in it. Even if they're secret characters, still doesn't have it. In fact, one cast member in particular, the entire story mode centered around them, and they're not even playable in the new Guilty Gear Revelator. Matter of fact, I honestly feel like that's one of the reasons that they want to try to quote-unquote block people from recording their story mode and throwing it on YouTube, so they can't see how embarrassing that shit is. Justice is that character. Justice is what almost 70% of the story in Guilty Gear Revelator is about. And you only see her, or rather, you don't realize you see her until the remake or second iteration of it, the 2.0. And even then, they don't call her by her actual name, even though she's not in her Justice form. They call her Jackie O. To this day, I still have to tell people, no, that's actually Justice. Because it's so not fucking explained.
That's because part of it's Guilty Gear 2 Overture. Also, it's Jacko. She's supposed to be the new vessel for Justice. And
yeah, but it's also,
some people are trying to prevent that, and some people aren't.
No, dude. I played the whole thing. They even add random story bits as updates, which don't do anything. Like, they added one last month, I believe. But the whole point is that these characters don't have an excuse not to be in the game. Yes, you could put them in a story mode because people were asking questions, but the bottom line is there's no excuse for them not to be playable. Now, so what they've done is they've been putting in some of these characters. Most recently, Baikin, not to be confused with Bacon, although they both look like they taste good. Feel free to go and put in an image of Baikin from her Revelator format. Oh my god, she's beautiful. And also, fucking Jam Corrado Berry. Which, yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a play on words with cranberry jam. Now, which no one should eat. It's terrible. There's a reason why it's like 90% sugar. And here's the thing. They cost money. Dizzy, who was a DLC character in the original game, was the original story point for the first title. She was the reason people were doing half the shit they were doing in the first game. They made
Zach, you're mixing this up, dude.
What? The first tournament was to kill Dizzy. Everyone's trying to kill Dizzy, but then Soul won.
I mean, the roster, the DLC, you're mixing it up.
Oh yeah, because that's right. She was DLC in Guilty Gear Revelator 1, not Revelator 2.
That's correct.
And also, there's something that's very unusual with that DLC. The characters don't all have the same fucking price, which is baffling to me. The original character, or one of them in particular, I don't know how to really describe it, but it's a Korean woman inside of a mecha of a Korean old man. Yes, you heard me right. Is about
Hae-hyun.
Yeah.
It's some crazy shit.
Yeah, Hae-hyun or Hyun something we can't pronounce because we're not Korean. Okay, he's about $6.99. Yet, Baikin is $4. Raven, who's already in the game, is also $4 or $5. They should not be different prices.
You're mixing it up again.
Well, no, you could say it before I finish the sentence, goddammit.
No, really, you're already mixing it up because you're mixing up Rev 1 with Rev 2. Like, Baikin and the Answer are the Rev 2 characters, and they just come with that update.
No, listen, that one I didn't get mixed up. I know because I have the old one. If you want Rev 2...
so did I. You're fucking it up, dude. I'm serious.
So you have to buy
Baikin and
Rev 2.
Yeah, no. Baikin and the Answer are Rev 2. Hae-hyun, Raven, Jam Corradaberry, and Dizzy are Revelator 1. Now, the reason why the prices are different is because a couple of them were unlockable in-game, and the other two weren't. That's why they cost more.
You're still missing well, you're right, but you're still missing the chief point. The chief point is, it's not a flat rate. And it should be. Because, well, yes, you could argue, and that's kind of the point why you're here. Oh, these characters are already there. It's just paying for an unlock. Well, here's the thing. We don't know if these characters were made already and they just held them back on fucking purpose or not. But it's very likely, not because, oh, well, Capcom did it. No, it's because these were the original cast members in their own fucking franchise. Now, what are the odds you think a company's just going to say after they release the initial game or while they're trying to get the game published, you know what? Let's completely finish these characters and then not do shit with them, sit on them, and then make people pay for them later.
Well, in the case of Capcom, they did that a lot. But in the case of ArcSys...
We don't know.
No, they didn't. They didn't. People data mined it. They weren't there.
Listen, the data mining doesn't mean anything if they don't put
it means a lot, actually.
In a normal sense, if it's Capcom, yes. But here's the thing. First off, everyone is watching Capcom, EA, and companies like that fuck up. What I'm getting at is that we don't know if they were sitting down in some computer in the office that they finished and then said, fuck it, we're going to put them in later.
Balancing.
That is true. Not to mention, we all know, well, I do, because unfortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, I've not only had to do industry research, but, well, I'm general manager of virtual retail. So there are things I know and see that other people haven't or don't realize is there. I still to this day have to tell people, and they get shocked as fuck when I tell them, Nintendo does not do their own distribution. They never did. Nintendo has never actually did their own distribution for their software. Matter of fact, almost nobody does. But the weird one to me is fucking Sony. Like, Sony, what you pay for the raw materials to get your video games, your consoles, your cameras, your VHSs, your Walkmans, your VCRs, DVD players, all these other devices made, but you don't want to do your own distribution? What? But I'm not even gonna get on that. That's a whole other tangent for another day. But here's the thing. The reason why shit gets rushed isn't because, they want to push it out there and then do an update when it's already done, which is stupid because first off, that'll hurt their profit. Though unfortunately, though, Japan is the last person to learn this little tidbit of knowledge. And even then, a lot of American companies don't act like they know this. Yes, I'm referring to EA, but you can relate any negative thing with the video game industry to EA at this point. It's like saying the sky is blue. Now,
pretty much.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. A lot of companies, with or without shareholders, feel like they have to have a product annually or they have to have a product in certain seasons in Japan. So what they do is they'll try to do the old bullshit, which is pay off people to give this game a high review or not give it a low review if they choose to do that. Not saying Arc System once did that, I want to be clear. Or they'll just release it as half-ass garbage and then they'll patch it later and assume that that's going to be okay. Which it fucking isn't. Especially with a fighting game. So, a lot of companies will choose to release the asinine garbage. Now, the problem with that is, obviously, what a reviewer is going to say. Secondly, what are fans going to say to each other about it? And lastly, how is that going to affect the purchase ability of your game? I can promise you, I can call up at least 10 people in my head right now when I told Street Fighter vs. Tekken has half of the roster of the entire fucking game already on that disc. And it's a less, and the unlocked file size is less than 30 megabytes. They immediately didn't want to touch it.
Very true. I remember the day I got it. I got it on a 360. I went to the replays, and there was a Cody and Blanca match, and those two characters were DLC. So people hacked it already, like, day one. Not only that, but it also had console exclusive characters, if you remember.
Yeah,
the PS3 version. Yeah, the PS3 version had
everybody.
The cat. They had like two cat characters, and then it had Cole.
Yeah,
yeah, they're like Sony mascots or whatever. But they
Japan,
had and then they had
Pac-Man.
Cole McGrath from Infamous, and it had Pac-Man riding a Mokujin and Box Art Mega Man. Box Art Mega Man and Pac-Man were on the 360 disc, but they were never selectable.
To me, that's the beginning of fuckery. Now, Capcom's official statement, because it's hilarious and I know nobody remembers it or looked it up because they just said fuck them, but I personally looked into this. Capcom's official statement was, "We will explain everything in 4 months later." This statement comes courtesy of the bitch mouth of Chris Vincent, the at the time vice president of Capcom, and also jackass who personally pissed me off because he couldn't answer a simple fucking question and put up a fucking meme when I asked him about it. So yeah. Now that aside, that's where it seems to have all stemmed from. That was like the shot heard around the world. Now see, here's the reason he said 4 months, because that's when all principal and initial sales are pretty much dried up for a retailer of a physical game.
I see.
Yeah. And the dumbass gave it away when he specifically said, "I will tell you in 4 months." That's a little bit too specific, you stupid motherfucker. I generally don't like that, man. Even if he didn't work for Capcom, my problem is the way he handles my questions when I talk to him like a fucking adult. Anyways, alright, so that's just one example. Also, if you go in later down the line, they started doing things correctly. They had cosmetics that were downloadable, purchasable, which is kind of like the staple for everything. Now, of course, there can be a case argued to, why don't they just give us the DLC option and do a color edit mode? Color editing is the easiest shit ever for anybody to throw into a game or a fighting game. This is true. But again, they need to make money. Guilty Gear is not a famous franchise. We want to believe or think it's a famous franchise, and you know, if you've been living under a rock. But the bottom line is basically, if you're a famous franchise, you basically need one of three things to have happened. One, to have existed in the 90s. Two, had a Saturday morning or Saturday-ish morning cartoon. And three, at some point in time, had your toys or merchandise in a Toys R Us, McDonald's, or Burger King. Or in Street Fighter's case, all of the above. These fighters have sentimental value at this point. I know people that have not owned a Street Fighter game in decades, but they are fans. And I call them fans because they still buy other shit. They buy the merchandise. They produce fan art. They read the comic, which people keep forgetting exists, even though it's been around for over 10 years now. It's going to come up on being 10 years old. They buy the art books, the ones that weren't even released in Japan, from Japan until later. They buy the mangas when they get released in America, which take forever.
That's putting it lightweight.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I can say with all honesty, they're a fan. Not to mention, can you really blame them if they don't want to fuck with the fighting game world? Especially when A, Capcom keeps stiffening him at every last second, and two, you gotta deal with assholes that don't get reprimanded or dealt with by the community itself. That's the thing about a community. Everyone wants to say that there's a community, but the thing is that if there's no community, is a form of organization. Organizations have leadership unless it is decentralized organization, and even then, decentralized organizations, that means that there's only mini leaders or baby leaders. There's a certain level you don't go past. So let's move down the line to more recent shit. The real reason why we're here. Are corporations getting ready to fuck up fighting games, or rather, have they already done it, and are they going to die a slow and abysmal death? Save for Smash Brothers, of course. Because I'm pretty sure we all remember, because we're all in that generation of when corporations decided we're going to buy up all the first-person shooters and their mama. And look how that turned out. There's something produced almost every 12 months. Every single one has almost 3 times the game's physical value in DLC. And then on top of it, some of them have even reported, and this is true, have had presidents and CEOs who stated if they could, they would find a way to charge you every time you turned on the fucking game. In one case, I believe it was 2 CEOs ago for EA. The dude who was in charge said he wanted to try to find a way to charge you for every fucking bullet.
Wow. Fuck that noise.
Fun fact. I believe it was Fortune 500 magazine about 2-3 years ago did a census between CEOs of what companies they would like to work for the most, and 70 or 80% said EA. And I guess how many of them bitches actually played video games?
Barely any.
You goddamn right. You know why? Because the CEO of EA is one of the highest paid CEOs on record, if not the, in America. Ain't that some shit?
That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. So, now let's move forward into current games, and also the reason I gave y'all that Jim Sterling link. Back on Arc System Works, or at least what they're trying to do now, besides the Namco Bandai things, which the Dragon Ball DLC is somewhat debatable, obviously they work on the characters in advance, but they have to test them and make sure they're ready, and if they don't meet production deadlines, they're going to have to be DLC, or they're going to have to be scrapped until the next game, which has happened before, back before DLC. Characters will be finished, but not inputted until the next game. But in the case of other things they do, like Blazblue and the Persona fighting games, and also, having a good working relationship with the people behind Unio, the dumbest name.
You'll never see it coming.
God damn it.
Are you talking to us?
He was making a
Persona 5
reference.
joke.
Oh, yeah.
Even though Persona 5 has no fighting game.
It doesn't matter. You'll never see it coming. I feel like somebody that's gonna come up like as a tagline when they release a trailer for that game. You didn't see it coming, did you, bitch, or something like that. Anyways, okay, so
Actually, considering the company, we all saw it coming.
yeah, they're pretty much poured out Persona 5 like halfway through development
Facts.
cycle. That I remember the internet losing its mind over. Oh, they're patenting a bunch of other subtitle names around Persona 5. I'm like, obviously they're going to make a dancing game for no fucking reason. By the way, I don't know if you guys have ever seen those dancing games when you turn off all the inputs and watch the characters dance. It's terrible.
Is it really?
It looks like
Honestly, yes.
It looks like someone trying to do the ballet, but then halfway through it, they stop and then just randomly move around the screen. It's oh my god! I feel so.
They're like DDR dancers.
Worse. And here's the worst part: they only use like the same 5 or 10 people, but they'll have like 80 songs on the game.
Like I said, they're like DDR dancers.
Oh well, then, yeah.
Yes.
Like and then the best part is that these dances are never like in continuity with the character's personality, and on top of that, they'll do the deformed characters as playable or danceable characters too, because you don't play anybody, you watch them dance, and it looks even weirder because their heads don't have a neck half the time. So when they move around, no one thought to put any animation ability in the neck. So they'll actually start clipping through their own body. I challenge you to go watch the Persona 5 dancing trailer. Oh god. Just stick with downloading or YouTubing the soundtrack and ripping it. Once you do that, you don't need to touch the game.
Good to know.
Anyways,
You just gotta wake up, get out, and get out there. That's all I'm saying.
facts. Okay, so what's going to end up happening is they have all these licenses. They have Persona, because they turned it into a fighting game because, well, they like money and they know Guilty Gear and Blazblue doesn't make a lot of it unless it's arcade machines in Japan. Because, again, not a household name. And also, that story is stupidly confusing for no reason. And there shouldn't be 4 to 5 versions of the same goddamn character. It's stupid.
Well, to be fair, the Persona 4 Arena DLC was not that bad. Considering Arxis is really shit at DLC, the Persona stuff wasn't that bad.
Well, I'd say it is, considering they re-released that game like 4 goddamn times.
There's only 2.
Persona 4 Arena, Persona 4 Ultimate Arena, Persona 4 Ultimate Max Arena.
No, dude, there's only 2. I promise you, there's only 2. I bought them both.
I say Google it.
I don't need
Or
to.
either
There's
they
only
got
2.
or did they just add too many fucking adjectives over time?
No, it's just 2 games. Persona 4 Arena, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. That's it. They're just named differently in Japan. In Japan, they're called Persona 4 the Ultimate and Mayonaka Arena, and then Persona 4 the Ultimax Ultra Suplex Hold.
Well, that might be
They
it.
just have different names in Japan.
Wait, why the fuck would the Japanese name be in English? Oh my god.
Because they like weird English words.
Yeah, I forgot who I was
That's
thinking
bad for
about.
you.
Yeah, I just thought about it because I just sat in and thought about how many Japanese games do I know that actually even have a Japanese title, and I was like, none.
I mean, think about it.
Metal Gear
Under Night,
Solid.
In Birth, EXE,
Yeah,
Late ST.
That's what
That's
I'm
a
talking
stupid name.
about. Unio.
That is a stupid
Dude,
name.
They don't even call it that in America. We call it Unio. That's why I couldn't look this game up. Yeah, that was another one. That was either published or co-published by Arc System, which was made by a different company. But they released that shit Virtual Console under the title Under Night and Birth EX Latest. And I just set up in like, this is that game everyone keeps calling Unio. I get it now. But guess what? Those characters are included too. So now what they did was they took Blazblue. Somehow they leave out Guilty Gear, which is the shit that made them famous. Persona 4 specifically. And Under Night and Birth Latest, and Akatsuki Blitzcamp, which is, it's a newer game, but it's old school to the point where it looks like the shit was made with Street Fighter 2 graphics.
That's not in Cross Tag Battle.
No, Akatsuki Blitzcamp is.
No, it's not.
I've seen it.
No, it's not.
Dude.
It's in Unial. It's not in.
No,
it's
both.
not in Cross Tag Battle.
It's both.
It's not in there.
It's both.
It's not in there.
Dude, listen,
no, it's not.
The character
no, it's
from
not.
Akatsuki Blitzcamp.
He's not in there. He's not in there.
Akatsuki is from Akatsuki Blitzcamp. They
I know,
used
but
him
he's not.
in Unial. But
Yeah,
they're
in
also
Unial, but he's
using
not in
that
Cross Tag
model-
Battle.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're also using that Unial model from Akatsuki Blitzcamp of the character in Cross Tag Battle. So
But he's not in that game.
Dude,
He's a licensed character, dude. He's not in that game.
Dude, they're all licensed.
He's not in Cross Tag Battle.
I've seen him. I said it 3 times.
He's not in Cross Tag Battle.
I don't know how many ways
He's
you
not
want
in
me to
Cross
say it.
Tag Battle.
Okay, well, I'm
He's
pretty
not there.
I saw a Ruby character.
He's not there, dude.
It must. Okay. Well, apparently you know their way and I don't. But bottom line is, I saw somebody that looked very familiar to him there. Anyways, okay. So, all those franchises combined with the inclusion of the 4 main characters of WRBY to cut down
Ruby.
on confusion. Yeah, to cut down on confusion, are all in this one game.
Rubies.
Now, here's my problem. They came out with an announcement 2 days ago about a potential release date, as well as a new trailer for the game, where they showed off that half the roster is DLC. There are
And
40
half
characters.
of Ruby is DLC.
Ironic, and we'll get into why that's ironic in a second.
That's
There's 40
hilarious.
characters, so that 20 only you have to buy 20 goddamn characters.
We don't even know how they're breaking it up.
Dude, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be unbalanced in the favor of fucking Blazblue.
I know, I'm just saying. We don't even know how they're breaking up the 20 yet.
They don't even know, probably.
Probably not.
Dude, this engine that they're making this game on is unreal. No pun intended. So, all they gotta do is basically drag and drop their old shit and then balance them to not be broken or not be unplayable. So there's almost no effort and work put into new animations.
Yeah, the only new sprites are going to be the Ruby ones. That's it.
And also, on top of that, the combat system is running on a different engine, which it really doesn't fucking need to. But there's no point to it. They didn't need to go and fuck with it. So now, they won't even tell us how much it is, but they'll tell us that they want us to buy double the characters.
And yeah, I mean, that's bad enough. And like I was saying before, part of the reason fans are pissed off is because, Ruby is a team of 4 women. You got Ruby, Vice, Blake Belladonna, and Yang. And when they released...
And then two of them, half of them are DLC.
Yeah. So that like I was telling Zach off chat, it's like if we got a new version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters, and they said Raphael and Michelangelo were going to be DLC.
The two characters that hate each other.
Bullshit.
That would be some bullshit.
Fiona.
I don't know what happened to her.
Not in here.
I mean, it's funny considering the Ninja Turtles are going to be in Injustice 2 now. So
As one character. That's the creepy part.
What?
yeah, they're in season 3 of Injustice. They're the third DLC pack for Injustice.
As one
So
character.
how the hell are they going as one
We
character?
don't know, but that's why we want to see it.
I think what it's going to be is
the new costumes, right?
Right, because you know how like all the characters have gear. I think you just equip a turtle with gear, and it's that turtle.
Don't ruin this dream for me, goddammit. I want it to
We don't
be-
know for sure. It's just a
I want
guess.
it to be a main turtle, and then as you doing combos, the other ones show up and leave, or just something that is so brokenly stupid. Because first off, this whole entire idea was terrible. Because either way you do it, you're gonna piss off a fan. Because you playing Leonardo, but during his combos he calls out his brothers. Okay, well now that means that I can't play Raphael, Michelangelo, and fucking Donatello.
That's just wrong.
Oh, so now you want to come back? Like,
Oh gosh.
No, I had to reload the chat again.
That's great.
Okay, well, bottom line is, they have half their roster of characters that aren't even new drawings going to be DLC, and they had the ball sack to announce it in advance. On top of that, because there aren't that many fighting games out there that come from Japan that are fortunate enough to cross seas. Japan, in the past 15 years, has created about 67 fighting games. And of those 67, by the way, that number's not exact. Only less than 30% come to America. So really, the only ones that got no notoriety and flew under everybody's radar, besides anything by Arc System Works, was Vanguard Princess, which I know none of y'all know about it, but don't worry about it. And,
I know about it.
Okay, Arcana Heart. But what
I know about it.
But what made Arcana Heart...
I know Arcana Heart.
I too know about that one.
Yeah, because what made Arcana Heart unique and a bit of a head turner, because originally everybody was turning their heads to the opposite direction and walking around the corner so they didn't get mistaken for a pedophile, was that even though the game is nothing but, a bunch of Japanese high school women, what they did was they found a way to make it so combos are pretty much guaranteed to be unique between each player, even if they're using the same character. Because unlike most fighting games, or at least the 2D ones where there are thousands or hundreds of thousands of combo possibilities, that game has trillions. Now,
Yep, even more now.
And what they did was they didn't advertise why it was trillions. So that naturally made people curious. However, though, it was always a limited release. Even in its first iteration, it was a limited release. But
we didn't get the second game because it was a shitty port.
I'll take your word for it. I don't remember seeing the second game.
Because it was a shitty port.
I'll take your word for it. Now, speed forward to the final game, which has like 2 or 3 different revisions. They had a Kickstarter for the PC version to not only get on the PC, but add a new character. They obviously met their goal. You can all go to Steam right now and look at the Virtual Console version of Arcana Hearts 3. Love Max with 6 exclamation marks, and that's the actual title. 6 exclamation marks at the end of that, Love Max. Further increasing people's inability to be comfortable with showing people that they own this game. A state and place I don't like to be in. But nobody knew what it was, so I didn't have to worry about nobody asking me about the game. But here's what disgusts me, and why I'm just going to torrent and hack the shit out of it. In fact, I'm going to start downloading it while we're talking, and I bet you it'll be done before this shit's over. They put up a Kickstarting extension for a new character. Now, their new character costs, or on average, the same as every other character, which is about 40 to 60,000, or the equivalent of 40 to 60,000-ish yen. They raised $300,000 in USD. Now, here's the problem with this. It's not going to anything else. It's not going to that one character. Less than a third of that money is going to that one character. See, on Kickstarter, or most of these other ones, you can actually close out or set a cap to how much money you receive. Meaning, once you make the minimum you need, you can say, fuck it. They didn't say fuck it. They're not giving anybody anything for it either. That character just gets added as DLC. It's not even a free LC. It's completely funded. So, domino effects started going off in my head. What if this shit is the fucking future of all fighting games? Then I started thinking back to everything Capcom's done in the past 10 years. By the way, not a lot in the terms of fighting game community. And then I remembered something. Capcom has the motto/mode of which everybody else starts, begins, or ends their shits. With the exception of Virtual Fighter, because they openly admitted we couldn't go off Street Fighter because, well, Street Fighter didn't have 3 dimensions. Virtual Fighter is basically the Street Fighter 3D fighting games. Everybody is either based off their engine or use their engine to get started. Namco Bandai borrowed the shit out of Sega's engine. It's not even a joke.
Actually, the guy that created Virtua Fighter went to Namco, so it's the same creator.
No, I'm saying, I'm being literal though. The engine they still have to get from Sega because of licensing. Also,
no, it's a different engine.
No.
It's just the same creator.
About the first.
So am I.
1997.
No, that's not the year.
No, I'm saying when their licensing for their engine started going out. It was 1997. See, he knew about the engine because, well, the motherfucker made it. Now, he had the choice of, as per usual with everybody else, borrowing somebody's shit or recreating the same thing from scratch. It's not illegal or plagiarism. It's a very common practice in the video game industry. Not everybody needs to go and pay Capcom X amount of money to get a super combo gauge at the bottom of their screen. He, as well as it was Namco Bandai, or at the time, Namco, and also, what is the one with Dead or Alive? That's Team Ninja's name.
Tecmo. Team Ninja's just the development team.
Yeah, it's a development. Tecmo, and one other person whose name I forget, because their shit didn't make it past the first generation of 3D fighting games. They all license that shit out. In fact, some people even still go to Capcom for things even if they don't do it. Dead or Alive, the 3DS one, is actually using some of Capcom's programming and engineering abilities on their 3DS version of the Dead or Alive franchise. I didn't even know that. I had to look that up. Anyways, okay, so the thing is that everybody seems to think that you can't make money or build interest if you're not doing a microtransaction or you're not adding extra characters. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing, by the way. But what pisses me off is that they think that it's a guaranteed way to make money. But much like anything in video game industries, we get our information two places. Word of mouth, GameFAQs.com. So, if I make a fighting game and I don't tell people how much DLC I'm putting in, I go in and create at a minimum $200 of the DLC. By the way, the value is not monetarily based on what I feel it is. It's based on what idiots I think I can get to pay for it. But let's say I make a maximum of $200 DLC for this game. But then I go and fuck them over, depending on how you look at it. And I make a Game of the Year edition. By the way, there's no actual determiner for that title, which is why people just toss it out there, which is bullshit. And it's half the price of the original game, but all the content is now offline. Or I don't tell you that the content isn't actually on the disc. You have to buy it and hope that the DLC code is still in there, which is, again, horseshit. What do you think is going to happen when I make a sequel to that game?
Depends on what kind of sequel it is.
Okay, let me
A
put it in
lot
better
of people
context.
would say, fuck that shit.
Well, yes, but let me put it in better context. Mortal Kombat 9 had a fuck ton of DLC. About $100 or $110 worth. Then they made a Game of the Year edition. Mortal Kombat 10 comes out. And Injustice comes out. And Injustice 2 comes out. And here comes Mortal Kombat 10. Do you really think people are going to sit on their ass and buy the initial version when it comes out when they know / think that there's going to be a Game of the Year version coming down the pipeline? But at the same time, Game of the Year versions are determined by, did this motherfucker sell a lot?
Well, see, that's the problem.
It's called the hell of your own
Not it's not the problem with what you said, but here's like the main issue. When it comes to that, it's just a matter of like, how competitive do you want to be in the game? If you want to keep up with the game, you got to be in there from the get-go, and it sucks because you know you're gonna like you gotta like have all the money to get all the DLC that they put out. Maybe you know what it's gonna be. Maybe you don't. We don't know. But the problem is, and Blazblue is the worst about this, but it's like, you're in the ground floor. You get all the DLC. But then the next version comes out. All the DLC you paid for, it's just there. So now you're like, well, fuck, I should have just waited. But I want to keep up. I want to get the skills right. And then you get the new version, and then that new version has DLC. And you get that DLC. And now there's a new version with that old DLC on it too. So it's like, fuck, what do I do? And if you want to be competitive, you got to get in from the ground floor and keep up with the game. But if you're casual about it, yeah, you might want to wait. But the problem with waiting is, when are they going to stop? Like, Dead or Alive 5, right now.
They just stopped last month. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, Dead or Alive 5 is finally done.
Oh, by the way, you should have been here and seen how many people shit up Brick when I told them how much it costs if you got all the DLC for the game, period.
It's so big!
Put it this way. I have an Alienware
Wait,
laptop.
how much?
No, dude, this was a year and a half ago. It's bigger now, but here's the thing. At the time, I have an Alienware laptop. I got it without the graphic amplifier that future-proofs the resolution and shit like that, right? That DLC was like $200 off from being the same value as my whole entire fucking laptop. Now they just stopped making DLC last month. I can already tell you could probably buy 2 of my laptops.
Yeah, because this is how it works. So you had like Dead or Alive 5 basic, and then
Ultimate.
No. I'm talking about DLC and everything. So you had so you had like the regular Dead or Alive 5, and there were DLC costumes. Now keep in mind, the game already has like plenty of unlockable costumes. The DLC that it gave you was purely cosmetic. You didn't have to buy it. It was just, you could buy it in packs for characters, or you could buy it per costume. Like, hey, I like this Helena costume, so I'm going to buy that costume, and it came up to about like $2 or $3. So there's that. Then they came out with DOA 5 Ultimate, which added Virtual Fighter characters, Pi, Sarah, and Akira, and some other characters from Ninja Gaiden. So they're already there.
No.
Now there's more DLC costumes.
No, they came in the third iteration.
No. I'm getting to that. So yeah, Ultimate's out, and you have like a couple Ninja Gaiden characters and 3 Virtua Fighter characters, and then there's. Let me finish, man. There's more
deal. You know how
in
it feels, don't you, motherfucker? Continue.
There's no. I know it was like Pi, Sarah, Akira, and then like Rachel and Momoko.
No.
Yeah, they were there. No, they were there from the get-go. Then there's more characters. Yes, there were more characters later.
I have all 3 discs.
Yeah, so do I. Anyways,
oh my God. Hey, stop. We gonna get this sorted out real quick. Somebody go wiki this shit when I'm done saying this, so he can be sure. Listen, the Virtua Fighter 5 characters came in Ultimate. They did. Yeah,
I know. And then there's one. And there's one more in Final Round.
No.
Yeah, Jackie was in Final Round.
God damn, let me finish. Now, here's the
last
thing.
round.
Yeah, there you go. First, that's one of the things you got wrong. Okay, when they made Ultimate, there were no extra DLC characters that could be added to it at the time. It was whoever you got on the Ultimate disc. However, when they made Last Round is when shit got crazy. When they made
I was just talking about costumes, dude.
No, they added.
There's more costumes.
Too. They added characters.
And there's more costumes.
You don't have the order straight, is what I'm telling you, though. The characters they added for Last Round was Momiji, Rachel. They went back and added Rydell from the very, very first Dead or Alive. But
yeah, the first boss.
He's a completely different mold and model, which is weird. And then they added this bullshit character who I can never remember her name, who's also Ayane's other half sister. I don't know her name, but she wears a glove on her hand. I can't think of the name, but she's
the one who has boos from everybody.
Yeah, that's why I say she's bullshit. And then they added the little Lolita pedophile bullshit for those pedophiles out there that love their.
Oh yeah, Marie Rose.
Yeah. Who again? All these characters don't actually fall into the except in the Rideout, don't fall into the story, not necessarily of the game, but of the entire franchise. But
and then like Mai Shiranui showed up, and
and then also they added
some Samurai Warriors character.
Yeah, they added a Dynasty Warriors character. By the way, she's one of the most entertaining characters to look at. No, I'm not being dirty. I mean, her combos are so uniquely different that they make her stand out. Anytime people play.
And the funny thing about like Mai and that other character, I don't know her name because I stopped playing because I didn't have. Yeah, but anyways, the interesting thing about that was like on PS3 and 360, Last Round reached those consoles' DLC caps, so they couldn't add any more to them. So if you didn't have the current gen, so if you didn't have the current gen, that was it.
Let me just clap real quick for the fact that somebody, after all these years, found the cap.
Yeah, because no other game did that.
Item. No other game needs to. They have over 400 items. Why?
Yeah. It was like they had all the characters have so many costumes: Halloween costumes, cheerleader costumes, girls with overalls, the character bundles. Like Zax isn't playing. Like if you add up everything,
400. It's about 400 to 500 pieces of items.
Yeah, it's the total is ridiculous.
And then here's my favorite part. There's about 4 costumes that you can only get from buying an entire season pass. Guess how much a season pass costs?
Wasn't it like $20 or $30 or something like that?
$89.99.
$89. Oh yeah, that's right. It was stupid.
So you could have every single outfit, or you could have over 40, 50 outfits, but because you want one, you gotta pay $80 goddamn dollars. Oh, by the way, did I mention that the men account for less than 20% of the outfits made?
That's always been the case.
No, it's actually been pretty balanced until 5.
No, I mean, do you remember the first DOA?
Yeah, and do you remember the fourth?
all the male characters had about like 5 costumes, and the girls would have 15.
And as I recall, they released like 7 season passes.
8. Put it this way: if we were to sit down and calculate it, which I know nobody will right now, I can safely say you guys can buy my entire entertainment, well, at least half my entertainment system. You can buy the microphone, which is $500. You can buy the audio recording devices. You can buy the case that I put this shit in and send off when I need to. And you could even get enough money left over for my 5 terabyte hard drive, my cloud storage on Google, which is like 20 or 30 terabytes, on top of my PlayStation 4 Pro. Like, the only thing you couldn't get is my Switch, because I will fucking kill you.
Yeah, but I wonder if that's like every individual piece of DLC or if it's bundles. Because I think the prices are going to be different.
It's multiple bundles, but it's also depending on how far you are into it. There's bundles because, okay, these outfits were in the old games, but we didn't transfer them over. And then there's bundles based on every outfit that came out in that year.
Yeah, either way, it's going to be fucking ridiculous. Like, yes. I don't think any other game matches it.
And then there's crossover shits that don't even come in a bundle, and you can't even look up properly. Put it this way, their catalog is so fucked up on the PlayStation Store. The only way to properly look up a character's outfit is to go inside the actual game and wait for it to load individually on that character. Do you know how time consuming that is? Very.
It's even worse on Xbox One.
Ayane has like 44 outfits alone.
Yeah, and I remember because like I said, I played it on 360. I went over to a friend's house. He had it on Xbox One, so I transferred my save data to that. And you got to re-download all that DLC, and you can't do it in game. You have to go to the Xbox One store and find it.
Oh, it's back. It's the reverse on the PlayStation 4. You can find it both ways, but ain't no way in fuck you gonna pull it up from the store because the title for the DLC is so long it doesn't fit into PlayStation's built-in search browser. So no matter what happens, your shit's gonna trail off screen. I'm just sitting there like, this is fucking stupid. And then here's the worst part. Remember, there's 2 versions of the final version of Dead or Alive Last Round. There's Dead or Alive 5 Last Round, and then there's Dead or Alive 5 Core Edition. Which is
that's right.
The
free-to-play
ultimate
one, kind of
microtransaction bullshit I've ever seen in my life. Everything in that game except the first character you decide you want to use, you have to pay for it. Oh yeah, and not going to the options, and they haven't found a way to make you pay for breathing yet or pressing buttons. So story mode is $20. Versus mode is $20. No, $14.99. Online mode is built in. You can only use one character. If you want to use any other character from their roster of like 32 characters, you have to buy them. You can still fight them online, but you have to fucking buy them. Tag battle is like $6. Basically, if you're not going online with that one character alone or in a training mode, you have to pay for it.
Now, on the flip side, look at Killer Instinct on the Xbox One. Like, I mean, if you download like a trial version of that game, the character you can play as rotates. But if you decide you want to buy the game, you just buy the game and then you get everything.
I remember them trying to advertise, oh no, the game's going to be free as long as you got an Xbox. Yeah, fuck that. I knew they was lying. Anyways, now, here's the thing. Because of this, whether you guys believe it or, can comprehend it, Dead or Alive 5 is now the most successful fighting game in the history of fighting games. As of almost 4 years ago. Yeah, leaves a bad taste in your mouth, don't it? Bad taste in your mouth, hard dick in your pants.
And keep in mind, he's saying it did better than Street Fighter 4 did, and no, Street Fighter 4 was quite successful.
It did better than every Street Fighter combined.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm adding to your point. I'm saying it even did better than Street Fighter 4, and that was like the most successful Street Fighter in a long time, if not ever. And that's mostly just because all the old characters came back.
And yet, Dead or Alive still isn't a household name. Just goes to show you the power of having a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so now we've seen with the first-person shooter genre, more specifically, cases of Destiny 2, Battlefront 3, 2, whichever one we're fucking on, and pretty much anything with the words Call and Duty in it, that these companies want to suck your ass dry like you got some udders on you. And they don't care if you buy it, your mama buy it, your daddy buy it, or if you got it through gambling. I'm not even going to get into the old loot boxing. We've already been there. My question to you guys is, I think that fighting games are going to become the next Call of Duty. As in, they're going to become the next genre that the corporations molest to all hell and leave more fucked up than one of the Bill Cosby videos. So,
God damn.
Ooh.
Well, here's the thing.
I
Here's
get
the thing.
venomous
If
and
you,
I get dark when I'm not doing stand up and I'm pissed. There's a reason I do stand up. It stops statements like that from coming out when I'm talking to normal people.
Right. But if you think about it, fighting games have kind of always been that way. I mean,
no.
no,
no.
What
Let me
bullshit
finish.
is that?
Let me finish. Remember how many versions of Street Fighter 2 there were?
That's not what I'm talking about. That is
No,
not what we're talking about.
No, think about it. Like, updates and new characters and stuff, that used to be an entire new game.
That's not
You had to
what we're
buy
talking
another
about.
game.
That's not what we're talking
Like,
about.
no, I'm talking about like, okay.
Dude, I know what you're saying. Like, we're around the same age. But I'm saying that's not what the subject I'm trying to say is.
I'm getting to your subject.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
saying, like, yeah. I'm saying, like, the old way of doing things was, we have new ideas, let's just make another version of this game. So it was like, trying to tell your mom, hey, I have Street Fighter 2, but now I need to get Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And you have to explain why that's a good purchase.
That's the main reason why I stopped fucking playing Street Fighter, because when I had to explain that shit.
Hey, you see what I'm saying? Like,
No,
they used to be a
I
whole
don't.
other
Remember those
cartridge.
Yeah, okay, but I digress. Yeah,
But now it's like, oh fuck, unlockables are now unlocking my wallet.
Oh, that was
All
pretty
the
good. I
facts.
give you that one.
Clever.
Oh,
Anyways, what I was saying was basically what I mean by my statement is: do you think corporations are going to come in here and they're going to start having these people just crank out characters and costumes and colors like alchemy, not letting these people get any royalties on top of the fact they don't get any fucking bonuses from their shit, and just hoarding the money with the top upper echelon of maybe 10 or less percent of their company, basically like that fucking motherfucker, what was his name? Not Nolan Bushnell. Peter Molyneux was doing. And
Oh, God.
yeah, that shit was disgusting. And then turning around, making these insanely high levels of profit, and then monetizing everything they can. But they don't seem to realize is that we can tell each other not to buy your shit, then what are you going to do? Because that's exactly what the fuck happened with Battlefront 2. He honestly thought, I'm discussing, I don't even watch Star Wars. He thought, the CEO thought he was just going to sit there and not do anything and just let this game make his wallet fat as shit. But then he pissed people off so much and fucked up so hard. The CEO of Disney called this man. Let me tell you something. When the CEO of Disney has to call you about a video game, which he doesn't play, you know you done fucked up. I'm just saying.
That was a glorious day.
I'm just
business facts.
I'm just picturing that's the Disney CEO calling his ass up. You done fucked up now, huh? And just like, get on your knees, and you're going to suck my dick or you're going to lose this license. We're Disney. We actually don't tolerate shit, even if it's a video game. When we put our name on things, we don't want them to suck. Go and look it up. Disney, on average, usually doesn't have a lot of shit games, even if they're licensed.
Dude, side note, that's like probably worse than when Malibu Comics was making the Street Fighter comics, and Capcom was like, hey, this comic is shit, stop making it.
No, it was worse. And I want to talk to people about it. I want to tell people about it because this shit was funny. Okay, so there was a company called Malibu Comics. They were obviously making the license for Street Fighter comic. Here's the problem. They never ran any of the story by Capcom, because this is when Capcom was in it. What? Street Fighter? You want something? Okay, we don't give a shit what you do with it. That's the main reason that has come back to bite them in their ass. Because in the 90s, they got comfortable with whoring out their property and not doing any quality check. But this comic was so violent. They canceled it after the 4th issue. And I'm going to tell you why. And it's not because the characters were actually hurting each other or there was blood and shit. It was because Ken's scalp got cut off and mailed to Ryu. And now it's supposed
That's great.
And now
and they were like, bad original characters as well.
Well,
Oh shit!
it was the 90s. You can't really say it was a bad original character in a fighting game because they were all terrible if you stop.
No. I mean, Malibu made their own characters.
No, I know, dude. I've read all 4 issues. It was hilariously bad. They were going to give Ryu a love interest, and she looked so Chun-Li. It wasn't.
Oh, you mean
funny.
Sakura?
No. Japan likes making pedophilic relationships, not America.
No, Sakura didn't exist yet.
Even though
No,
technically
I
they're
was
only like
making
4 years apart.
Newest
That
one
shit.
joke.
I like how it was perfectly okay in the beginning, but it got worse over time because she wouldn't fucking like. Theoretically, they were only at worst 3 years apart from each other. At worst. Then
No, in
here
the
comes
new
Street Fighter.
arcade,
Here comes Street Fighter 3,
Street
which
Fighter.
she's not in, where she would theoretically be in her middle 30s. Then here comes all these crossover games that happen after Street Fighter 2. Somehow she's still in high school. And then here comes Street Fighter 4. How the fuck are you still in high school? Ryu's like 40 something. How are you still in high school? And then you get to Street Fighter fucking 5. She's not a teenager, but they're basically trying to imply she's 20, which is still bullshit because now Ryu is 50. I'm just like, look, the problem
The
is
timeline's fucked up.
No, the timeline ain't fucked up. The fucking writers and the people who make the game are fucked up.
Oh,
They keep wanting to
Yeah,
be a sex
that's what I mean. The timeline's fucked up. Like, really, the whole series is like the late 80s and up to like the mid 90s.
Okay, so here's their official statement, because Sakura being cool Street Fighter 4 is what made them finally make a statement, because it was annoying to everybody. And what they said was, on record, that treat every game like it's its own timeline story era, which is total bullshit cop-out. Because first off, Yun and Yang shouldn't be as old as they were. And in Street Fighter 4. Their excuse, oh, well, Street Fighter 4
They should be even younger in Street Fighter 4, actually.
Yeah, and they also say,
Yeah,
oh, well, Street Fighter 4
should.
happens like just maybe a year or two before Street Fighter 3rd Strike Series pop off. Okay, jackasses, well, if that's the case, then they still shouldn't look like that. Because that means that every other character's timeline is fucked up. Like, they put themselves in the corner because they didn't want to think, because that's how it is with, and I know this sounds really mean and offensive, but this is how Japanese video game storytelling is. The people who make the games are not necessarily the story writers, and even if they were, they did not take any prior training. They didn't take English classes at a higher echelon. They're not novel writers. They are manga writers at best, and here's the thing about manga writers. Most of them are not actually novelists, which is why their stories either have giant points where they don't make sense, or worse, they have endings and beginnings that don't follow any logic. I'm not even going to get on Fairy Tail because, first off, that's been a problem for decades. Look at how
Fairy
Bleach
Tail.
he knew
For
he
Fairy
knew
Tail.
that Shonen Jump's president did not fucking like him, and they were bullshitting him. So instead of shorting the manga or leaving it on a cliffhanger, he did that nonsensical shit. Fairy Tail is, I don't even know why people even get mad. Like, you should be used to this shit by now. The ending's so stupid, it don't make no sense. Well, the writer came up with it 2 weeks before it was due, or about a week before it was due. So, why you mad? You knew what you was getting when you go in there. That's like when I see people, and this isn't off topic, but it's just hilarious. When I see people get mad at my friends or my other friends because they decide, you know what, let's be fuck buddies. But then he tells you, hey, he or she tells you, hey, we're only going to be fuck buddies. Oh, you done caught some feelings. You should be afraid to catch feelings. And then when you don't return them, they don't want to fuck you no more. Or he say, you know what? You give them an ultimatum. Well, you can't fuck me if you don't even know boyfriend or girlfriend. Okay, bye, Felicia.
Bye, bitch.
Why the fuck you want to be mad? Like, I don't understand that logic. I don't get it. And I'm sitting there looking like, look, I feel bad that you're sad right now, but I don't know what the fuck to tell you. What were the rules when you got into this? No strings attached. What did you try to do? Attach a string. So what the fuck would you expect him to do? What I said he would, because I had this mental construct of how he would act based on my feelings, not his actual feelings or, common sense. And I'm just sitting up here twiddling my thumbs like, there's a reason why I don't have the problems you do. It's not because I don't do the same shit. It's because there's a line. And when people say there's a line, I have this terrible habit of not crossing it. Because as I've learned from the 90s and even going to the digital era, you fuck over somebody and they can get access to public media of any type, you are fucked whether you're right or wrong. For example, guess how much Michael Jordan lost because he didn't want to beat off?
What?
Guess.
What?
I don't even understand the question.
Fiona, guess.
I wouldn't even begin to think of a number.
That's nice. Officer, guess.
Because he wouldn't beat off.
Shut up.
Oh,
I thought it was
a
gambling
couple
debts.
million?
How much?
Yeah, got a couple mil.
Oh yeah, that's real vague right there. All right, Riot, what you think? Rough estimate, how much you think he lost because he wouldn't beat off?
Billions?
He could.
Couldn't be billions.
No. Zeno.
It's got to be a couple million, if not.
All of you are terribly wrong. He has lost over an estimated $150 million because he didn't beat off.
That is free.
And let me tell you why, Fiona, because I have no belief you're paying attention. All
I
right.
am 150 million.
This man had a half-year affair with a white woman that was so not famous no one even remembers who she was the year after it happened. And also the one Wayans everyone forgot about, Kim Wayans. Because, well, actually, I don't know why people forgot about it. Her ass was on In Living Color of all things. Now.
I didn't forget.
Yeah, because In Living Color was the shit. Now.
It was.
Yes, sir.
Now, you ain't old enough to remember. Don't bullshit. You caught
Oh,
that shit on
I
Hulu.
actually do. I had older brothers, my guy.
talking about?
It's on YouTube. You can watch it.
I had older brothers, so I used to watch a lot of older stuff. So.
Oh yeah, like Def Comedy Jam, shit we weren't supposed to be watching. Anyways, okay, okay. So his wife, who ain't worth 150 mil, and will never do anything in her life that's worth 150 mil. I don't care if that makes her mad. If she wanted me to prove me wrong, she would have done it by now. She got the house, estimated value at the time, 45 million, and she got a $100 million settlement. Because he didn't want to take his Scottie Pippen and play with his basketballs. Now, let me ask you something, Fiona. Do you think that Michael Jordan's current ex-wife has done anything that warrants her getting $110 million plus a $40 million house?
Okay, do I look like I keep up with sport events?
It's a yes or no
like
question, though, right?
Splits on dicks. She was doing splits on dicks.
I mean, like...
What's this got to do with DLC?
Shut up.
I lean towards no.
Thank you. Now, I'm not going to say her opinion has a higher weight/value than the rest of y'all's, but I just wanted personal confirmation that I could get somebody of the opposite gender to admit that there's a line that you should not cross when trying to settle for anything in a divorce. And shit, that motherfucker found it and put a $45 million house on it. Anyways.
It's because I have tits, isn't it?
Yeah, it's totally tits.
I was going to say because you were born...
You're not saying no!
I was going to say because you were born without a fucking penis, but, it's technically the same thing. Anyways. Alright, so...
She is. It's just on the inside.
That, to me, is the... Look, stop watching South Park, okay? Anyways.
Okay.
So, that, to me, is basically tantamount to a form of extortion. Because, first off, that's a settlement. So what the fuck did he talk her down from? Which I don't even want to think about. Now, in the case of video games, how this correlates, Riot. Because I know just because you don't like sports doesn't mean the rest of us don't like sports.
I didn't say I didn't like sports.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, this is how it correlates.
He's trying to find a relevance.
Yeah, this is how it correlates. I like saying that. What happens is that people start trying to assume or get desperate to appease us, so they do things temporarily, or corporations will do things temporarily, or make things look like they're permanent, or try to sweep shit under a rug. Michael Jordan paid a lot of money and also pretty much refused to do any interviews that talked about his divorce and the settlement. We only know about the settlement because net worths, some people's net worths are a part of public record. Or, you just grease the right palm and you can find shit out. So, in the case of Battlefront 2, which is where this goes full circle, they decided to alter how things were acquired and try to advertise the shit out of it. However, they forgot the most important thing about trying to fuck over anybody who plays video games. We're at a point now where we can look at your data, bitch. So the first thing they found out is that what they did barely made a difference. And on top of it, it compounded into the loot box gambling chaos that happened, again, courtesy of EA, but also because of video game players also being partially politicians, to the point where even the European Union started looking in on this.
Oh yeah, loot boxes are gambling.
Well, they technically are. However, what initially made them different was that there was no payout of a physical or of a monetary item, meaning you couldn't gamble to get more money. But based on the terms and technicality of what gambling is, that's exactly what the fuck it is. So here's the thing. That compounded. So now here you are, you're EA or any company you want to think of. You're trying to nickel and dime your customers so bad, that instead of making a newer version later on for offline people to be able to get, or funding an upgraded version of a physical game, which is in theory not a bad thing, your customers and the government are both shitting on your product. And they're only doing it because you're trying to piss in their faces, basically. And your name ain't R. Kelly. So, if I'm a customer and I see the same thing happen to fighting games, well, not as bad as FPSs, because they've had corporate corruption far longer than almost any other part of this industry. If I see them heading towards that route, and I see FPSs leaving bad taste in people's mouth, in fact, one of my other things I do as general manager, which I really shouldn't fucking do and have somebody else do now, I don't have to answer customer emails, but my boss says I do, so technically I do. I keep getting random parents coming back after the game has been bought, sometimes weeks, months later, or people just looking for a deal on something. They don't know shit about games. Hey, which video games don't have the Battlefront type stuff? Like the boxing. It's like, boxing? Ma'am, are you trying to say a loot box? Yes, the loot boxing. I've been getting hypothetical emails like that constantly. Constantly. I am now getting those emails more than, hey, where your Switch is at? Hey, where your Switch is at? Something the entire retail universe has to hear, at least for the next 5 to 6 months. I can't tell you why over the podcast.
Flashbacks of the Wii release.
That was slightly different.
Where your Switch is
I was working at a game store at the time. It's just giving me flashbacks of it.
Flashbacks? I'm surprised I didn't give you PTSD. Anyways.
I was seasonal.
Oh, that's why you ain't got PTSD. Okay, so basically, people who are in the common public picked up on this. Because unfortunately, I want to say it's not with all media, but specifically with video gaming media and, anything involving rappers or African Americans that's not Obama. If you are looked up and picked up by national journalism, it's usually because your product, they found a way to angle it into looking like something bad so they can get more reviews. Because it was proven almost as early as 30 years ago that you get more views on major publication news channels with terrible news than you do good news. Oh, hey, this baby kitten is up for adoption. More news at 4 versus looks like Michael Jackson's back in court for diddling little boys. Hypothetically, we'll tell you more at 7. Now, I hate to say it, but you may think in your head you want to hear the kittens more than the others, but that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case on record. Because whenever Michael Jackson got in fucking trouble, it was international attention, and almost every company that covered it saw at a minimum of 15% ratings boost. And as we know, ratings
walking into the little boy's pants.
Drama sells.
As we all,
Yeah.
World Star is still alive for a reason.
I hate that fucking website.
It isn't because Kevin
Drama sells. That's it.
It isn't because Kevin Hart randomly made an episode where he talked about it in his TV show. It's because
fight videos.
Yeah.
I was expecting you to say drama sells, but yes, that too.
So much.
I was so mad when I found myself on World Star, but at the same time, it was really funny. But I still had him take it down.
Fight videos are drama, so.
Anyways, so what ends up happening is it's looking like it could be possible for a shift to where, since the common people think a certain way, because we already know they only work on stereotypes. Because in this country, in almost all of them, less than 3% of all schools, who the fuck is texting me right now? God damn it. Less than 3% of all schools in any level cover why stereotyping is wrong or why you don't do it. Hold on. Can you call me back in like 2 minutes or text me? I'm at my apartment.
Hey, baby, what's up? Call me later.
10.
Anyways, okay. By the way, fuck you, Zeno. I know that was you. So, if this gets popular enough and gets media attention, not on YouTube, but on regular network television, like Mortal Kombat did, which actually, for you young bastards, Zeno, was what started the ESRB. Like, literally, Mortal Kombat is the reason we have the ESRB.
Yep. Mortal Kombat and Night Trap.
Because
foolishly.
because the Senate was getting ready. No, because the Senate was getting ready to regulate the entire industry, and they didn't know what the fuck to do, and they didn't care. They just said, "You gonna get some type of rating system implemented."
Right, and Sega made their own. Sega made their own first, and then eventually, the ESRB was. I don't know if they were already created or if they were created because of that, but eventually all the video games got ratings. But first it was just Sega. Like, all the Genesis stuff had ratings, but it was different. Like, the ratings were just, they had different names and stuff.
Yeah, and if you find shit with the rating labels on them, like, they sell for a couple $1,000. Anyways, so, and also the supersonic weed, but that's another story that's hilarious. Official licensed product of Sega. So basically, it's possible for this industry to not so much go belly up, this subgenre to not so much go belly up as it does lay dormant. Because all bullshit aside, people can claim what they want to. The fighting industry never died. Like, of course it never died. As long as someone makes a new game within a 12-month cycle, motherfucker, the shit's not dead. But when it's only Tekken, which does not have international recognition that rival Street Fighter and never
it
fucking
did.
will. No,
it did.
No, it didn't. Because
yes, it did. Tekken 3 was the highest selling fighting game in the world.
Bruh, listen to what I said.
Yes, it was.
I said international recognition.
I'm talking about internationally. Tekken 3 was the highest selling fighting game in the world.
Sales. Listen to what I'm saying. That doesn't mean sales of the game. It means fanfare, products, and merchandising and franchising. There's a reason Sonic in the 90s, and this is an actual fact, not an opinion, was more recognizable than fucking Mickey Mouse in the same time period. Let me say that again. In the 90s, Sonic the motherfucking Hedgehog was more recognizable than Mickey, bitch. If you make fun of me, I will buy your company mouse.
Yeah, and Tekken sold more games than Street Fighter, and Street Fighter was at its peak.
Did you not hear what I said?
I did, but you're not hearing what I'm saying.
Repeat to me what I said.
Yeah, you said Sonic was more recognizable in the 90s than Mickey Mouse.
That's not what I meant that I said. This is what I said. I said that internationally, the brand recognition. It doesn't matter if someone outsells you. Listen, one day...
So the world isn't international?
Will you let me fucking finish? Nike, for example, could have a year where they outsell Adidas or Reebok or whatever other company. And then turn around, Reebok and Adidas will have a year or a decade where they could outsell Nike. But... who is going to be more recognized and more popular internationally? And I'm pretty sure you don't know the answer, but do you want me to tell you?
Adidas.
Nike.
I was thinking soccer, but okay.
Ooh, that's a...
Nike.
Soccer's bigger than football.
Yeah, that goes without saying. But
yes,
that's not the point.
Facts.
What I'm getting at is that Nike will still have the brand recognition and that mass popularity, not because of some sentimental value with the shoes. Obviously, someone will have that, but because Nike's marketing is more reaching. They also have a bigger budget and can spend more motherfucking money. The point I'm trying to make to you is sales, which I said earlier with Street Fighter, sales and popularity don't necessarily go hand in hand with brand recognition. Did you know, and this is the last example I'm going to give, that there is one company that has made almost 40% of every monitor screen since 2002, but did you know that this company doesn't sell any electronic devices?
Sort of.
Bottom line is, you see what I'm getting
I don't know the company, but I know, that's the case.
There's also, like I said, Nintendo, as big as they are, as world famous as they are, they don't do their own American distribution. Do you know the company that does? I do.
No, exactly. I wasn't that deep into it when I was working in games, so.
Well, first, they wouldn't tell you because they don't want you to know this type of information because you'd find ways to give yourself like 40% discounts like I do. But my whole point is that there's always something that wants you to see them, some that don't want you to see them, and some that don't know how to get you to see them. So even though Tekken 3 might have been originally the greatest selling or highest rated fighting game in the world, it didn't matter. Because at that same point in time, that same period, no matter how many products Tekken came out to try to counter or also have alongside Street Fighter would always get A, brand recognition, and B, considered high quality. Especially when it comes to Tekken movies. Woo, they're so terrible. Even the animated ones are terrible. Put it this way.
Well,
they would be better off having the American cartoon company that made the Street Fighter Saturday morning cartoon animate their Tekken movie. Oh, it was so terrible. It's hilarious.
Well, yeah, but I mean, to be fair,
what's it? Tekken Blood Vengeance? Oh God, that's not
better than a live action movie.
Only.
I'll say this. If there's one thing I don't know, which one is better in their competition, I don't know if Street Fighter live action or Tekken live action movies are worse than the other. That's. But here's the thing: who wants to really win that title?
Street Fighter wins it twice.
No, Mortal Kombat 2 wins it. Anyways. Okay.
No, Street Fighter wins it twice.
Nothing is worse than Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh, no. Legend of Chun-Li is way worse
than that.
Wait.
You actually watched that movie?
I watched it from my podcast.
You watched that movie?
Yeah, from my podcast.
No. Stop adding that part. Did you watch that movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fucking terrible.
Thank you. I'm going to tell the internet.
I didn't pay to watch it, but I watched it.
Hold on. I have to tell the internet. Give me a second.
The episode was on the internet. They already know. What the fuck are you revealing?
Okay. All right. Anyways, message sent. So, what I'm telling you is that if the most common terminology or thing that pops in people's head when they hear a fighting game or a game where there's fighting, and if you really want to be technical about it, that's like 90% of every game ever. How many games do you know where you legitimately don't hit something and fucking fight it? That's like at least 90%. So if the common populace, mommy and daddy, even though the average gamer is 35, mommy, daddy could ruin an entire genre for a couple of generations or the next couple of generations and get people who aren't even interested in playing with it to go somewhere else because they think, oh, this game is going to try to turn my kid into a gambler. Now, yeah, first-person shooters are possibly going to and probably will have that problem going forward, but so do cell phone games, which is why there was a giant decrease. Yeah, they still making super profit, let me not bullshit, but the amount that came out as far as clone games went up and the original ones went down. Because a lot of these companies, they're trying to make everybody a whale or they're trying to get in mommy and daddy's wallet without a refund.
No lies.
Yep, and because even though these refunds are allowed and there's nothing stopping the refunds, they don't want to give them back because they don't feel like there's a man who spent his child's entire life savings, his child's entire college fund, on a fucking cell phone game. A cell phone game that didn't have an ending. And on top of not having an ending, fucking guess who didn't get a refund? That guy.
What game was it? Oh my God, is that the best game alive?
I don't know, but dude, I got even more research. I personally told somebody about Fire Emblem Heroes and it ruined their marriage.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Carrot on a stick, man. Carrot on a stick.
He just answered the question. You don't dangle tits in front of a man at a strip club. You don't dangle microtransactions in front of a gambling addict. Here's the problem. He didn't know he was a gambling addict, but he found out he was, and then still wanted to fucking hide it. That's what really did it. It wasn't that he was addicted to it. It's that he didn't want to be fixed.
Yeah, because it's like what probably happened was
no, dude. I'm
not saying you're wrong, Zach. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying like his mindset was probably, oh well, this isn't like poker. This isn't a slot machine. This isn't gambling. But no, dude, it totally is.
And then now you see why fucking Battlefront has gotten, this chain reaction of government legislation possibly involved. Because no matter what you think, old games are the easiest for people to understand because they've had time to adjust. What you think is going to be easier to teach a 70-year-old guy who's never touched a video game controller? Chess or fucking StarCraft?
Chess, obviously.
Wii bowling. That's why the Wii did so well.
Okay, you know what, motherfucker? You're not wrong, but fuck you on principle. I hear you trying to hide your laughter, bitch. Anyways, Fiona. So basically, Oh, I'm just gonna randomly call your name out until you say something.
I can hear you, you know.
I'm just making sure. Because you're the only one who's not saying shit until you acknowledge.
I was saying shit because when you were talking about that game, I was like, is it Game of War? Because I know people who spend hundreds of dollars on that goddamn fucking game.
With no ending.
No ending whatsoever.
I still feel bad for Onimusha. Don't look it up, guys. If you love Onimusha in any way, shape, or form, or you respect it for its landmark and historical things that it's done in the video game industry, including having Donnie Yen do choreography, don't look it up. Just don't.
Look up what happened to it?
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't.
It's not a dare. Just don't do it. It's not a dare.
Not a dare. Don't do it.
God, and then they put Lady in there from Devil May Cry. Just,
You're enticing them. Stop.
No, I'm not. He knows better. He knows when I say, hey, you shouldn't look at something, I'm not doing it to be a dick. I'm being totally, legitimately serious. Anyways, before I, curl into a ball and cry from that shit. Okay. Here's the thing. That mindset is what I like to call a domino effect type. So the next 4 or 5 years, let's say, licensed Dragon Ball game aside, because the Dragon Ball licensing to make a game is stupid. You have to produce something every 12 months, so they're going to say, fuck you. It's completely and totally dumb. But let's domino effect. If Capcom goes ham with Street Fighter 6 or Street Fighter 3 Turbo Remix DJ Green Lantern Edition, and then
or another 2,
and Injustice
they already
3,
made another 2,
and then Injustice 4.5X Mortal Kombat Complete Edition with everything spelled with a K for some reason comes out, and they advertise it, they get commercials, they get on YouTube, and kid goes, "Money, can I get this?" No, son, there'll be another version later on that comes out. Be patient. I'll buy you the best version that comes out around your birthday because it'll have everything in it. Well, guess what? Mommy and daddy are basically making it a gamble if that'll even happen now. But at the same time, is it really mommy and daddy's fault or is it the game industry? You have a game that is in a genre that is increasingly becoming unpopular. Not because it sucks, but because of corporate interference. On top of loot box-based gambling possibly being integrated, and you're not going to spend enough time to take 2 minutes to look and find out if it's going to happen or not. And even if you buy it when it hasn't happened, then you still have no guarantee it won't be the great DOA effect.
Or Blazblue.
Or any Tales of game that's been on a PlayStation 3 or 4. An RPG does not need 126 pieces of DLC. Yeah, I actually looked it up. Fucking the last couple of Tales of games had over 100 pieces of DLC.
Yeah, but isn't most of it just costumes?
No. Half of it was shit you could get in game.
Oh.
Yeah, you just speed up the process.
Or you just break the game. If you start the game and here's DLC to instantly make you level 20 and you're level 1, what's gonna happen?
You're gonna get the level 20 shit.
And then as soon as they come out with the level 20 shit, they're already bringing out level 40 shit.
Yeah.
Sounds like MMOs.
Yeah, it's funny because it's true. Anyways, so do you think the video game, or at least the fighting game genre, is poised itself to combust or implode and go into dormancy like it used to? Or do you think that I'm thinking too deep? Don't buy bullshit, because if you keep buying bullshit, they're going to keep making bullshit. And first-person shooters are their own little isolated world, starting with Fiona.
Honestly, I hate first-person shooters. So, no thank you for me. Honestly, if you keep fueling their fire, it's going to keep going. But if you say, hey, I'm not buying any more of your DLC because it's the same shit I've already got, just a recolor or a newer gun with the same stats. It's just shit. So if you stop doing it, and if everyone else stops doing it, they're gonna be like, maybe we'll just include it or something. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Right.
I think it's a double-edged sword.
It's always gonna be. It's a catch-22. They're like, oh well, let's try this, and you're like, how about no? But I want it.
Well, I mean, like, to that point, it's like the fighting game genre is already niche as hell, and even though it seems like it's really huge, it's not. It's not. It's not huge at all. It's just easier to get games in because of the internet, but it's still not big. I mean, you can pull out an arcade stick at a party, and most people still don't know what the fuck it is.
Poor
But
people.
that's besides. Right, but that's besides the point. The point is, it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword because all the people that like fighting games want to continue playing fighting games. And how do you continue playing fighting games? You fund them, and you fund them by buying them. But because the companies know that, they're going to do what they're going to do to get the most money possible. How do you get the most money possible? You take the most necessary part of the fighting games and charge us for that. And the most necessary part of the fighting games is balance and characters. So instead of those characters being on the disc and unlockable by like, oh, I don't know, beating the game with character A gets you character B, now you gotta wait for character B to come out and be $5 or you get a season pass. And like, we're just begrudgingly going with it because it's like, well, we want this game to succeed, so we got to do what we got to do. And some companies are doing it better than others, but the fact is, it's all bad. And I don't think fighting games will die as a result of it, but I think there's going to be another drought because I think it's going to get to a point where we get tired of the bullshit and everybody's going to stop for a while and try to figure out a new way to get us the games and still make their money, but not make us feel like we're exploited.
Somehow people decided
Zax, you're cutting out.
Oh, yeah, I was far away from the mic. I was saying, and then the only thing that's going to come out is anime-based fighting games because for some reason, idiots in their infinite ignorance still haven't figured out anime is not a fucking video game type.
So they'll keep trying regardless to make it tight.
Well, I like this anime. It's not an anime. Look at the characters. It's not an anime. How come it's not? It wasn't made in Japan. It doesn't have to be made in Japan to be an anime. No, that's exactly what it needs to be. In fact, that's the only thing it needs to be. I cannot tell you how many times I've had that conversation. I cannot tell you, especially when Ruby shit pop up. And it's going to get worse with Cross Tag Battle. It's going to get worse because you know
Wait. Ruby's not an anime?
Dun, dun, dun.
Hell no, it's not.
No.
That's
it might
the joke.
I don't watch it. I'm just asking. I don't know.
No, it's really not.
Zeno, where is it made?
I think Rooster Teeth makes it, right?
Where is Rooster Teeth?
America, I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, although the creator died, but yes, it's American. It's completely American.
It's made in fucking Texas.
I mean, people mix up Avatar: The Last Airbender with anime, so...
No, those are called stupid people and small children.
Oh, gosh.
Let me ask you this, though. Like, you didn't touch on it before, but...
What?
Like, do you think... Like, multiple... Like, fighting games on multiple consoles can also kind of hurt the problem? Like, last generation, Skullgirls. Skullgirls got, like, a huge patch. But PlayStation 3 got the patch 6 months before 360 did because those companies have like weird DLC practices. No, and the same thing happened with Blazblue.
Microsoft, even for patch, anything that you add to the game online, it
costs money to do it.
No, specifically Microsoft likes to be a dick. They want $10,000 from you.
Yeah.
So if your game barely made $10,000 or only gets like $10,000, maybe every 9 months, of course your shit's gonna come out later. But yeah, that's just something specifically Microsoft does.
Okay, that was Microsoft. Okay, because like that was a huge problem last generation.
Now, normally it would hurt. It would only hurt a console if they switched where they started from, which most companies don't want to do unless there's a serious problem. That's why I both don't and do understand the Bayonetta hate. I'm like, listen, you weren't going to get Bayonetta 2 if Nintendo didn't fund this game.
That's right. That's so right.
It's not they felt like doing it because it would cost less. It was you get it this way or you're not getting it at all.
Right. Be grateful. I mean, to your point though, I think that's why like a lot of the Japanese developers jumped ship from Microsoft near the end of the 360's life cycle.
They jumped ship because first and foremost, it was never a good investment in the first place. At no point in time has Microsoft's Xbox system ever been popular in Japan, and I'm being
no, it has. I mean,
no,
No. A lot of like
They
niche
have
shoot 'em
trouble moving.
Well,
over
I mean, in the main,
units.
no, in the mainstream, no, in the mainstream, you're right, but like 360 got a lot of like shoot 'em ups and like for a while, like fighting games are on par on either side, but near the end of it, I mean, no, you're still right, you're still right, but I'm saying like near the end of it, like Chrono Phantasma, Blazblue Chrono Phantasma didn't even go on 360.
Okay.
They were done,
we're both right, but you misinterpreted what I meant. What I meant was I was being literal with the unit sales. I mean, literally.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
X-Bone systems in Japan is basically like saying, "Hi, I want to teach a human being how to fly."
But I was talking about 360. I know X-Bone is crap in Japan.
No, I'm saying the entire franchise line, from Xbox to 360 to Bone, all of them.
Yeah, but 360 did okay in Japan. Like, I'm not saying it did great. It did okay.
Here's something I always thought was funny. Every time they come out with a new system, they send less fucking territories. That is hilarious.
It is.
That is hilarious. Really is. What, you got an Xbox? Oh, hey, I'm going to release it in 90% of the first world and possibly second world. Oh, you got a 360? Yeah, let's just cut back about half.
I think that's why Dragon Ball Fighter Z was announced during like the Microsoft, because remember I think it was like E3 last year or something when like Dragon Ball Fighter Z was announced, and they announced it in the Microsoft section, even though it was going to be on like PS4 and the I don't think it's on Switch, but yeah, because it was like we gotta get money somewhere.
Yeah, because they know that Japan was there, and Japan, hey, we didn't forget about you, even though you don't give a shit about Japan and Microsoft, or specifically Japan and the Xbox. To me, is like, you know, what I said earlier about a relationship where the fuck buddy wants to become more than a fuck buddy. It's like,
500 Days of Summer.
Yeah, it's like Japan said, nah, you know what, I just can't, bro. And then here's Xbox going, well, if you can't fuck, if you won't be my boyfriend, I guess we ain't gonna fuck. Alright. Then you go turn on, hey, Sony, you gonna have a quick threesome with a Switch? Okay. Tell him get them Joy-Con boys.
Threesome with the Switch.
Tell him go get them Joy-Con boys and turn
real talk. I mean, like a lot of shit's like PS4 and Switch, PS4 and Switch, PS4 and Switch.
Breaking news.
Was it Lost Sphere?
Guys, breaking news. Breaking fucking news. Okay, so the Japanese fighting guide to Dragon Ball Fighter Z, by the way, fight game strategy guides, I don't understand why they exist. That aside, comes with a DLC code. Guess what the DLC code is for? Yeah,
Super Saiyan God, Goku, and Vegeta.
No.
Whis.
No. That I wish.
Beerus? Wait, no, I didn't play this. Is it
Majin? Android 21.
Yeah.
Yep. Even though the characters,
she's Majin.
Even though all those characters, somebody pull up the screenshot for this nigga. He gonna love that one. Even though Majin, Android 21, and also Super Saiyajin Blue, Goku, and Vegeta are already in the base game and unlockable, there's a DLC code to start the game instead of finishing story mode. It's DLC.
So just finish story mode.
Wait.
Right.
What?
I'm like, wait.
DLC to do what?
There are no secret on disc characters to Dragon Ball Fighter Z. What they're doing is giving unlock codes to get the characters that are already in the game faster.
So we just gonna play it regular.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. That's kind of crap.
I like that system better than what the fuck they do now, though. Because think about it.
Right.
If you got time for it, and if you're not fucking ADD, you gonna go and unlock characters. All you gotta do is fucking beat story mode. And everybody actually likes this story mode because it's something different.
ADD child right here.
What is it about?
It doesn't matter. But the point is,
Android 21's the main villain.
The point is, it's an original story, and there's an Android Majin.
Wait.
Made by Akira
Wasn't
Toriyama.
she supposed to look different? Did they change her?
God damn it! Will
appearance?
somebody go pull up the image for him, please?
No, I know what it looks like, but didn't it originally? Wasn't it human? Like
her true form is Majin.
Okay. So I didn't know that.
Her true form is Android, and she stole some Majin abilities. We don't know the full story.
Yeah, we don't really know. We just know
they make it that she's the final boss of the game, basically.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is when they first showed her, didn't she have like glasses?
Yeah, you're right. You're not crazy. You're not crazy.
Okay, that's fine. That's
We've
fine.
also found out what her special ability is, which apparently, every android has to have. She doesn't absorb energy, which I feel like that's a stupid thing to not let her be able to do, especially if you played the beta, because the android's absorption barrier is a multiplier. It doesn't just take what hit you and turn it into super meter, it multiplies it. Dude, I lost my shit. Oh my god, I never seen a match turn around so fast. I'm not going to give you the full details, but it was hilarious. Okay, so Android 18's level 3 involves her rushing across the screen before it connects. Or you could do it at point blank range to, make it go that much faster. Now here's the thing. I had 0 meter. I was fighting Android 18. I turned on my barrier and my brother's barrier. Because you can make him do his in the air and you can do yours in the ground. So you can literally make an impenetrable wall. Because here's the thing, those barriers don't work like they do in the TV show. Well, they work like they do in the TV show. They block key and physical. So I was just being extra careful right there, right? I wanted to bait him into, teleporting behind me to do a kick or something. But I know how those work now. So when somebody tries to teleport behind me, I'm instantly going to go into a combo because I know how to knock you out of it before you hit me. Which looks really cool when you watch it because it looks like I made a movement in less than half of a second, which is humanly impossible. Now, the thing is that...
You're an android.
Fuck you. Oh, wait, no, thank you. So the thing is that they were smart because I had done this to them earlier in the match. They did her level 1 super, but hers is special. Unlike everybody else in the game, and I mean everyone, her level 1 super starts with a teleport. So you could theoretically multiply the damage you get off of her level 1 super because it'll count as a counter. Because as long as somebody's throwing out or whiffing an action and you go into your instant teleport, she's instantly going to activate that super on the spot. Which is really cool and frightening when you think about it, but that's also, the downside is to balance it, they made it a really weak super. So he was smart, theoretically, but he misread my input. So I did the barrier, right? And Android 17 knocked him out of it. Knocked the other Android 18 out of it. So I was like, sweet, I'm going to get a free combo. He knocked my ass across the fucking screen. No, the Majin version, bro. So what ends up happening is, okay, he goes for it again, right?
And I'm doing both.
Okay. The before and after. Yeah, okay. So then I activated her level 1 super. This one of the weakest, if not the weakest super in the game, or at least the beta. Remember, I have 0 bars on my super meter. I got fucking 4 when I ate that move. Is everyone seeing the images load? Fiona?
Don't look at me like that.
I'm not. I'm looking at a bubble.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see the images load, Fiona?
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's okay.
I'm trying to find it.
Someone teach her how to look at the images.
It's in general.
It's in the chat. It's in general chat.
Hashtag general.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Look, keep it in your pants, man.
I'm playing something, alright?
Yeah, I know you're playing something.
I'm playing Final Fantasy, don't do that.
I know, you're playing the fantasy you always wanted to.
Are you gonna play Noctis and Tekken 7?
I'm talking about 14, not 15. 15's boring to me.
Well, you're not wrong.
Ooh, Android 21 is pretty.
Which image are you looking at? Top or bottom?
Bottom, duh.
Nah, see, don't get me wrong. If she didn't have a tail, maybe, but my whole problem is that if I ever wake up and roll over and I see a pair of black sclera, for those of you that don't know, the white part of your eyes, with red gleaming eyes staring at me, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to release some R. Kelly juice and she ain't going to like it.
You gonna pee on yourself?
Nope. I'm going to pee on her, but the pee is going to be scared of her and turn back and hit me and said, fuck you, man. You trying to get me
Oh, come on.
So he's got Krillin pee?
You mean Yamcha?
Bitch, that's Yamcha. Anyways.
No, Krillin does it in the game. It goes straight up.
What?
Wait, he pees on himself?
No! His
Xenoverse 2?
No, I'm talking about in Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Krillin's Kamehameha goes straight up. It curves up.
His
Oh, that's because he does a spread shot.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, I thought you were
That's
talking.
one of the basic things in Dragon Ball Z.
my
You
God.
still need to specify. There's been a lot of Dragon Ball media, goddamn.
In the early episodes of Dragon Ball Z, should I say? How's that?
I still get pissed that everybody think that Krillin made the fucking solo flare or his technique. That is not something his technique, goddamn. Why does everybody forget that these key users can use the same shit as other people, with the exception of their own
Solar
key blast?
Flare was
The reason
TM.
people can't make a purple blast other than fucking Vegeta is because that's his key. They explained a long time ago, like, yes, there are different blasts, but the blasts aren't to show severity or intensity. It's because the characters are using different types of the key that they have.
So basically they all have different lightsabers.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You,
I guess if you want to talk to it like that.
Hey, at least they're not calling you Finn.
Oh god.
Why you gotta bring that up, man? They don't need to know that shit.
Dude, that was pissing me off.
It'd be better.
No, we were at ASEN and he was wearing a brown jacket, and because
I just say they don't need to know that. But continue. It's too late now.
So someone called him Finn.
What do you mean, someone? No, it wasn't.
A lot of people called him Finn just because he was a black guy wearing a brown jacket, and The Force Awakens had just come out.
And you know the worst part?
That's terrible.
Fuck you. And you know the worst part? You know the worst part? Still can't wear a brown jacket.
Can't do it.
I still have more. But I thought in that new one that came out, the whatever. Okay, I thought that would be the last time. That's what it was, The Last Jedi. I thought that'd be the last time he put on a brown coat. Guess what? He got his. I saw pictures of it. He got his old coat patched up and put it back the fuck on. Damn. I got fuck coming and going.
That's
that is pretty funny.
Fuck you. And the worst part, the really worst part about all of it is that you can't really curse out a white girl at ASEN without drawing attention to yourself.
You really can.
And it's not like I wanted to curse out everybody. It's like, so,
but it added up.
Yeah,
it added up.
Yeah, just because I'm in a brown coat and I'm black, I'm supposed to be fucking Finn. I took into account the situation. I'm at basically a 3-day costume party, and I'm wearing a brown leather jacket. I fucked myself, but here's the thing: at the same time, at no point in time should people just be going up to anybody and assuming that you're dressed up like a Star Wars character. Not because you're in a costume party, which they didn't assume that because it was ASEN. They assumed because I was a nigga and the movie had just come out and in a brown coat.
Oh, wow, that happened.
Yeah. I was there.
And here's the fucking worst part. One time, I was sitting down talking about it. Somebody's calling me fucking Finn, and there's a dude dressed as Finn fucking behind me. They were talking to me, not him. Fucking.
Good job.
I personally went out of my way not to learn.
They made them have to go
was.
rethink their whole costume. Like, I'm doing a bad job at this.
Actually, kind of, because he got up and fucking left halfway through the conversation. He wasn't in it, but he just seemed depressed.
I can understand.
Dude, like, fucking, I really, really, really just, I don't think I'm ever going to see a Star Wars movie. Not even because all the characters I like are in the TV shows and they're never in the movies. But I think it's because it's going to be that one nigga, one day there's going to be a Star Wars movie and there's going to be a nigga in it that actually looks like me and I'm going to be fucked. I'm going to be so fucked. Also, what if Finn is Lando Calrissian's kid? Because I know they don't look alike. I know Samuel L. Jackson wants Finn to be his kid, and the books imply that Finn is going to be the next, Mace Windu type. But look at Childish Gambino's nose, who they got playing Lando Calrissian in the new Han Solo movie.
I mean,
and then look
I
at
think
Finn's
it'd be
nose.
kind of cool. I think it'd be kind of cool if that was the case.
Oh yeah, I forgot I'm talking to a Star Wars fan. You know what? Moving back on the topic.
No.
Star Wars had a fighting game. It's relevant.
Fuck you. Why you gotta bring that up?
Pause. What?
You were like 7 when it came out. It was really popular. In fact, it's still valued at over $700 because it had a character. It was one of the first games to have a character from after the movies were over.
Yeah, the extended universe.
It was like
What is the
literally
game
the
called?
first game.
Masters of the Taras Kasi.
Yeah, it was literally
I'm
like
looking
the
that up
first.
right now.
No, you ain't.
I don't know how to spell it, but I'll look it up.
Yeah.
TERASKASI.
Just tell them to go to YouTube and hit list of Star Wars fights.
Oh, found it.
Or Google.
Oh goodness.
It's bad. It's really bad.
But it's worth hundreds. Lots of hundreds.
For
19.
Yeah.
I wasn't even born yet.
No, I just said that.
Oh wait, I was born. My bad.
Yeah, you were
I
like
don't know how
2.
to count.
You were like 2.
I was. Yeah. Don't judge me.
How
You're still
young
in
is that
diapers.
guy?
I'm
Oh.
about to be 22 in next month.
Congratulations. You can
Oh my
almost be an
goodness.
adult.
Shut up.
You're welcome.
Try renting a car.
Oh, wait, he
I
can't.
can't yet.
Ah,
Eddie.
Dang.
I love playing Dragon Ball Fighters in 4K. Anyways, I still need to decide which one of my reserves I'm going to cancel. See, I got it on the PS4 Pro, but I also have
Is
it.
Kid Buu in that game?
Yes.
Kid Boo's in it.
Dude, why are you asking questions you know the answer to?
I don't.
Why
I have not
The
played it.
whole roster
Kid
is on
Boo's in all
YouTube.
the games.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you did.
Holland did not know that.
Yes, you did.
The only thing we don't know is the rest of the DLC characters.
No, we do.
Oh, okay.
No, we don't. There's supposed to be 8.
Let
We
me
only know 3,
No, let me.
and the 3 are unlockable.
God damn it. Look, shut up for 5 seconds. Okay, listen. All the initial DLC characters aren't actually DLC characters. They're already going to be standard in the game, but people want Namco Bandai, not Namco Bandai, Arc System Works to make pre-launch DLC, including Namco Bandai. So they don't have time to have any of it be ready, even post-launch, like the same day of publication. So they made those 3 characters the DLC, even though you can already get them. They're not on this DLC. They're just already there. It's just a matter of, do you have ADD or not, like I said.
But
Now,
there's a season pass
let me
for
finish.
8 characters.
The season pass for those 8 characters.
That's what I was talking about. We don't know who's on it.
Oh, well, technically we know half of the characters. But that aside, the point is that those characters are not even guaranteed to be for all of the season pass. We might actually get more than 8. But my problem is that I'm not about to buy 2 season passes on 2 different systems for a game that's supposed to be supported for 24 months. And God knows how many season passes and characters they'll put in 24 months. Especially if Namco Bandai does the unthinkable and actually updates and patches the PC version. Because what's going to happen is, I'm going to start going to my friend's house, and I'm going to play with my goddamn friends. And on top of that, I'm going to probably just have people come to my place, and we're going to play this shit in 4K. Because I can do that. In fact, if I actually bothered to get a graphic amplifier, I could run this game according to the actual statistics on my computer. I could run this thing in up to 7.5K. Now that's scary.
What about 8K?
What about renting a car? Shut up.
I hate everybody.
You're welcome.
I love you though.
Look. First thing you need to remember about her saying she loves you. She only says it right when she pissed you off, or she did something that's extremely dickish.
I am offended.
Because he's right?
Yes,
Triggered! I'm
Trick
triggered!
question.
fact.
Fascinating.
Anyways, okay. So, let's see who's next on this. Oh yeah, Zeno, go. You forgot the question, ain't you, motherfucker?
You said, will the fighting games become something?
Yeah. So
Repeat
All
it
right.
for him.
no, it's fine. I just wanted to see who's all paying attention for you.
Well, are they?
Will fighting games die due to DLC or not?
Well, that's one way to put it.
Not really. I don't know. I don't think they're prevalent enough for that.
Will fighting games die due to potentially becoming the next first-person shooter, as in hoard out by the major corporations and get filled with loot boxes? Why or why not?
They get filled with loot boxes, yeah, for sure. But I highly doubt they're just gonna completely die.
Die as in go back into dormancy.
For sure. Like I highly doubt that. People still gonna play it.
Wait, he was kind of
like-
young.
Yeah, he
Go
was.
ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't remember
No, I'm
the
just-
dark era. He doesn't remember because he wasn't really there.
I guess not.
Days without loot boxes.
Let me just put it to you this way, Zeno. In a 32-month time span in America, Japanese or not, if you had made a fighting game, it was going to fail. There was no bullshit behind it. There's no stereotypes. It doesn't matter how good it is or how much money you put into it. It was going to fail. And it was 3 years straight. But here's the thing.
It was more than 3 years.
No, here's the thing. The 3 years that triggered it was the worst part of it. Because in those 3 years, that's when all the corporations started telling underlings, I don't care if it's even on a small budget, you're not going to make a fighting game. That's when you started seeing people who actually knew how to make fighting games leave companies, whether it was a 2D fighting game or a 3D fighting game, because their company would tell them, yeah, we're not doing it anymore, so fuck off. But because of that, when the big companies tried to come back in, that's how we got these fuck-ups. Because then they would have to go and find the old people, or either find somebody who knew the old people and hope they got lucky. Because Capcom actually got rid of every single person that worked on Marvel vs. Capcom 2, with the exception of one person. You know how fucked up that is?
Well, to add to his point, the Dark Ages were like, Street Fighter 3 was out, it had its 3 versions, New Generation, Second Impact, and Third Strike. But the problem is, a lot of people didn't like the roster and the gameplay of Street Fighter 3 at that time. They felt that there were too many new characters, they didn't recognize anybody, and they just kind of didn't want to play it. And there really wasn't a good home port of Street Fighter 3 at all until the Dreamcast. And then like, the mantle was basically held by everybody else. So, I mean, you were still getting Tekkens, you were still getting Virtua Fighters, King of Fighters, and things like that. But no, Capcom, actually, like the Kings, they weren't really doing shit except for like Capcom Fighting Jam.
Yeah, and what did I tell you earlier? It doesn't matter how good your game is looked at. It matters how much people love you and how successful you were in the 90s. Virtua Fighter technically was very successful in the 90s. However, the people who make Virtua Fighter, I believe their development studio is called AM2.
That's right.
They let that director, no matter if he stays or leaves the company, whoever's in charge of Virtua Fighter, they allow them to take an infinite amount of work time. Literally, they don't have to actually meet a deadline. Now, that comes with 2 caveats. Distilled perfection, but also droughts. Memory droughts. As in, people are going to forget your shit is even out, or that it was even in production in the first place. Because Virtua Fighter, unlike every other game company I've ever seen ever, they don't actually do previews. They do, here's a release date, and then you don't hear shit from them again until here's another release date. There's no hype, trailer build up, nothing. They either have a trailer with a release date or they have nothing. Virtua Fighter 5 for the PS3, which came out the same year as the system, or a little bit after, in 2009, they started on that game in 2003.
Right, because that was like, I think it was like the second wave of games. I don't think it was launched, but I know it was like close to it. I think it was second or third wave.
It was like beginning of 2009.
And it didn't even have online play. The 360 version did, but not the PS3 version. And they never patched it in, which is stupid.
And then they made a better version that was Japan only. And
2 better versions, but one of them didn't come to consoles.
Yeah, and then they did release the better version, but they released it on the PS3.
Yeah, Final Showdown.
And then by then, the PS4 had been out for 2 years.
Yeah, but you can get Final Showdown on PS4.
Now
kind of.
That PlayStation View shit is bullshit.
No, not through that. Not through that. It's in Yakuza 5. If you go to the arcade in Yakuza 5, you can play Final Showdown. It's completely there. The whole game.
Well, I know what I'm buying.
I only played one Virtua Fighter my whole life.
Yeah, I know.
And it was
you should feel ashamed of yourself because every
PlayStation.
3D fighting game owes a debt to Virtua Fighter, literally. Because originally, Sega was the only one who had a functioning fighting game 3D polygonal engine, and everyone borrowed it. And I'm including Tekken, and I'm including Soul Calibur, and I'm including anybody else that didn't make it as long as those motherfuckers did.
You especially have to include Dead or Alive. I mean, that's why the Virtua Fighter characters are in Dead or Alive 5.
Yeah,
it's them paying homage.
Is actually a sped up version of Virtua Fighter originally, and then what they did was they did weight physics instead of attack animations. They went the physics of the characters over attack animations. It's actually a pretty simple system, but you don't recognize it until you play it. When you see the character's weight on screen in Dead or Alive, unlike almost every other fighting game, it actually fucking means something. With the exception of Smash Brothers and DOA, I've never really seen it mean anything. So if you have a
Guilty Gear has weight.
You know what I mean. So
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
So if you knock somebody up in the air, in Dead or Alive, how easy it is and how high they go and how many air combos you can hit them with is based on how heavy that character was and how hard the launch was. So you could have a character with high mobility who's hard to get a hold of, and you could knock them up in the air with like the littlest of motions. Then you can have a heavy motherfucker who's slow, grappler, Hulk Hogan imitation, which is actually a character in the game. And even if you knock him up as hard as you could, he's not going to go past a certain height. So you got to rethink how your combos even affect him. But at the same time, they still did the bullshit Tekken glitch shit where you could punch somebody in the space between their legs and they just get hit by something that's not there. So that ended up making its own little niche system. But then what made Tekken stand out more is because they had the same problem Virtua Fighter did. They would release their games extremely chronically long after one another. So when they did that, that lets somebody else step in and get some popularity. And that some popularity was always going to Tekken. Tekken is on Game Goddamn 7. Even though Tekken was one of the last fighters of the original set of 4 or 5 3D fighting games to come out, they've got the most iterations because of one simple thing. Tecmo made it important to make sure that they have a game out within every 24 months or around 24 months. The only exceptions were when they transitioned from PS2 to PS3.
Yeah, shit got weird with 5.
Yeah, and then to top it off, they've also had side iterations like handheld games. They even have a Game Boy Advance Tekken. People don't even know what happened.
Yep, Tekken Advance. It's fucking garbage.
Depending on how you look at it. But the whole point is that they're technically on
It's Game Boy Advance now.
They're technically on game number 11.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because it's from beginning to now. It's Tekken 1, Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Tekken Tag, Tekken 4, Tekken 5, Tekken 5.1, Tekken Dark Resurrection, Tekken 6, Tekken 6 Bloodline Rebellion, Tekken Tag 2, Tekken 7, Tekken 7 Faded Retribution.
Wait, there's already another version of 7 coming out?
No, that's the one we have now.
Oh.
On console, they just called it Tekken 7, but it's Faded Retribution.
Okay, because
Oh, and Tekken 3D Prime Edition on 3DS.
Ha! Wow, I don't even know if that came out or if it's a thing yet.
3DS.
I don't know if it's out yet though. I heard
It's
nothing.
been out.
I heard nothing. But anyways, and then
You're not missing anything. It's Tekken 6.
My whole point is that it's Tekken. They're not even good at making tutorials for their own fucking games, which is baffling at this point. But they were never going to maintain or get the popularity that they saw with 3 because of one particular thing. You can't catch lightning in the bottle, and 2, you don't listen to your fans like you're supposed to. They pretend to listen to their fans, but they only listen to what they think is going to get them money, not what is going to make a better product. Those are never the same thing in the video game industry. They are never the same thing.
Never, ever. Street Fighter's the best example of this.
No. I'll do you an even easier / older one of that. Who here has heard of a legendary company that likes to do whatever the fuck they want to by the name of Tri-Ace?
Yo.
Valkyrie Profile.
Wow.
Wait. Somebody go put in a trailer of Resonance of Fate, aka End of Eternity, while I say this. Tri-Ace is a company that has only ever had. Tri-Ace is a company that has only ever made games by themselves for RPG lovers on paper. They make sure that they try to have unique or original concepts or combat styles or engines in all of their games so they can be extremely self-sufficient. Now, guess what happened when they got to their 5th game, Resonance of Fate?
Everything went wrong.
Yeah, starting with the fact that nobody bought it, even though they advertised the fuck out of it. This game had advertisements on fucking Toonami. Do you know how hard it is to get your game advertised on Toonami?
I actually wanted that game.
Dude, go get it. It's really fucking
It's
good.
fun.
It's basically a John Woo movie as a combat system. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, Tri-Ace is known for very deep fighting engines in their RPGs.
And they always have stories that, no matter how complex they seem, they stand out because, well, they're actually somewhat original. However, here's the problem. The game does not explain its own story well enough. The combat the tutorial for the game is placed in a mini-game section. The full tutorial is placed in a mini-game section of the game's world map. And on top of that, the combat system in and of itself it doesn't tell you offhand what situations or what weapons or what types of things and items are better to use in certain situations outside of traditional status effects. So if I'm fighting somebody who I really should be throwing grenades at, and I'm using machine gun and handguns, nothing in the game is going to indicate to me I need to switch. Also, individual parts of the enemy's body have armor on it, but the armor will have its own individual health gauge. And you have to switch between weapons to be able to get rid of or kill an enemy. Because no one weapon by itself, with the exception of grenades, and even then you gotta really upgrade them, so late game shit, is actually able to be killed by an individual weapon. So the combat system, as cool as it is and can be, was a turnoff because it wasn't even too complex. They didn't explain it well. Also, the natural gameplay, story time, and progression is less than 30 hours. But they had mini games and side quests and arenas that would stretch the game's value almost 3 times what the actual gameplay of the game was. There was more shit to do on the side than there was to do in the actual game, which is dumb. And then to top it off, the worst one of them all, it's an RPG, but they still haven't gotten out of that chapter system. Anytime it's weird. It's like if you're not a Star Ocean game and you're an RPG, they put you on a chapter system. Here's the problem with a chapter system in an RPG. What if I want to go back to someplace I already went? Or what if I just want to go and visit something I already did? In the case
you have to talk to your dog.
In the case of Valkyrie Profile, here's the stupid part.
Watch my brother play that.
You have to actually stop what you're doing and just go reverse on your world map, and you can go back to these old places. And even then, they don't tell you that, oh, the bosses will spawn for that area infinitely. As long as you go to some area and touch certain things, the boss will keep coming back. They don't tell you that. So you don't even know that you can actually overlevel your character or go get rare items that only come from one boss or one individual monster, because the game does not teach you. They make games that don't teach you correctly. And
you know what else sucks about Valkyrie Profile?
What?
If you don't pick hard mode, you already screw yourself out of getting the best ending.
And here's the worst part. Hard mode doesn't even explain how to fucking beat itself. Dude, every time I play hard mode, I can't beat the first basic enemy in the game. Because I don't know how my character's supposed to survive anything.
Yeah, everybody starts at level 1 instead of, like, whatever they're at when you get them.
Yeah. And the enemies are like, oh, level 5 and 6. Now, that doesn't sound like a big deal, but remember, every time you move in Valkyrie Profile 1, Valkyrie Profile 2, the enemy moves. So, if I have 2 characters, that basically means I have to keep somebody alive, let them die, hoping they don't hit the dude with the green hair who's got long range equipment, let him build up and become the strongest party member of my team, and then go back to old areas and stay there for hours and hours till I can get everybody else at a normal or game pace level, then go beat the game. But here's the problem with that. You're going to run into a situation where your characters are too weak over and over and over again, so instead of it being fun, it becomes tedious. Now, and that's Trice's biggest problem. When they're not making every game after Star Ocean 3, they didn't listen to people. They did what they wanted to do, and they don't realize you can't do that. That day and age is done. And that's why they got fucked, and I feel bad for them. People don't even know it because they fucked themselves so hard. Once they couldn't get constant publishing from Square Enix, they got bought by a fucking Chinese company. And you know what they wanted to make them do? Make mobile games. So now there's a Star Ocean mobile crossover in countries that never even fucking got Star Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Bad.
Yes, depressing. But at the same time, they did it. I don't feel bad for them. They did it to themselves.
Yep. Or you just get the case of companies taking the wrong lessons from fans.
You mean like EA? All right, final person, so we can wrap this up because this has been going on longer than normal, Fiona. All right, Matt. Bet you don't remember the question.
Yeah, I can actually.
Damn it.
Because, I pay attention.
Yeah, Fiona.
I'm of the opinion that it'll make things.
I'm right here.
It'll maybe make things go a little dormant for a little while.
Okay.
Let the man speak. Come on.
But then again, considering what happened with EA, and how everyone's like, "Oh God, loot boxes," they're gonna find some other way to fuck it up. They're not gonna inject loot boxes in there. No, that shit's That's too hot right now. We gotta go with a different drug.
Yeah, let's make half the roster DLC. Yeah.
Yup. And admittedly, though, because they announced that ahead of time, everyone is like, nope, fuck this shit, not gonna bother. At least
except for the
smart.
Ruby fans, because they have a brain somewhere.
There's also the issue of future proofing.
Let me just say this right now. I know I've been getting on them a lot, but I am an anime watcher. But besides that, I'm not saying or stereotyping and say everybody is a brain dead jackass. It's just there are a lot of them, and like every single community or minority group that's on the internet, the vocal ones are usually the fucking idiots. And I really don't like the idea of when I give somebody correct, proper information about anything they like, I like, or we both like, their initial response is, "You're a hater, a troll, I should slit your throat and curse you out and all this shit." Why do you think you're not a jackass?
Yeah.
Oh, so what's funny about the hater thing? It's a Family Guy episode where Stewie basically breaks that down to a T. It's really funny.
But yeah, I think they're gonna find some other way to fuck up. But there's a chance it won't go that way. It all depends on what happened after this new Blazblue.
Well, here's the other thing.
Additional
they have a license
is required.
Well, yeah, but here's the other thing. I mean, you're not wrong or anything, but there's also the fact that there's a licensed property in it by way of Ruby. Now, think about what happened with Marvel.
The whole thing is licensed.
No, well, they're all under Arxis except for Ruby.
No.
I mean, Ruby's Rooster Teeth.
No, they're all borrowed licenses except for Blazblue.
Well, and Persona 2.
No, that's a borrowed license too.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about licensing. That's the problem. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
The problem is, think back to like what happened with the Marvel games. They got re-released, like Marvel vs. Superheroes and Marvel vs. Capcom got re-released on, the last gen, MVC2, like the DLC for MVC3 and all that. When Marvel was doing their video game fuck shit, what happened? They took all those licenses away, so nobody could get it anymore. If you bought the shit after the fact, you couldn't update it. So what happens down the line? Did Arxis look at what happened then and learn that lesson and figure out a way to future-proof the DLC for when people get it when, like, say, Ruby's like, okay, we're out, we're done with you guys. Like, what's gonna happen? And that's what I want to see. How'd they future-proof it?
I can tell you exactly what's gonna happen. They're going to release a premium edition, so that way, no matter what happens later, there's going to be a full roster version. But to somewhat piggyback on answering your question, even though it was rhetorical, they're going to have to do like Disney decided to do with the Marvel shit. They're going to have to, those companies are going to have to do a shared licensing system. Or people are going to have to request for them to do a shared licensing system. Because a shared licensing system fixes all the problems. Because here's the problem. Normal licensing has exclusivity in it. Which means that even if you have this character, if he's not in this publication, or if his DLC is available after this time and date, fuck out of here or get sued. But with a shared licensing, which is what Marvel did, that goes out the window. And that's what makes Infinity easier to deal with. Because Hawkeye was completely finished for the original Marvel vs. Capcom 3. But licensing. So he ended up in Ultimate because in between that time is when we got the shared licensing deal courtesy of Disney. But in the case of Japan, don't nobody know what the fuck they gonna do. But I will say this.
Also, Strider.
Oh, Strider's a special case because he's half Capcom, half another person.
That's right.
Moto Kikaku. That's how I always know if Strider's gonna be in a fighting game. Because they always put his creator's name in the copyright credits, even if he's not in that trailer. So,
very true. Very true.
Okay. Well, with that being said, I'm going to bring whatever the fuck you want to call this to an end at the sound of the beat that you people out there in YouTube land can't actually